Why do you keep on failing to get the things you want out of life? The law of detachment is a biological hack that sadly has been engineered into a mind virus. It's the equivalent of telling an obese person, just stop being hungry. It's a what without a how. I mean, how are you supposed to do this? How are you supposed to detach from your desires? And so most people out there are really satisfied with the law of attachment because it gives them an excuse for not achieving the things that they should be achieving in life. Well, I'm not able to achieve these things because I'm so attached to the outcome. But some people want to dig deeper. Some people want results. Some people want to change. And so the way I see it, there's really two options. Option number one is just keep doing the same thing and hoping that things are going to get better. And option number two is to take a few minutes, a few moments, and understand how outcome dependency actually works in the brain. And to actually understand how we can kill it permanently. And so in this video, I want to invite you to get past mindset and into what I call biological manifestation. All right, so I was not going to include this initially, but I think this is going to be very helpful. Your brain's number one job is to keep you safe, to keep you alive, to keep your identity alive. And if it sees that you're doing a behavior that is not a threat to your existence, it will never change it. It might not be comfortable, it might not be a good behavior, you might not be living a life that you enjoy. But if it is not perceived as a threat to your survival, your brain will never change this behavior. And you see, this is where 99% of coaches get it wrong. They tell you to visualize vividly your dream outcome, your dream life. They tell you to think positively. But I got news for you. You can visualize all you want, having giant dinosaurs in your backyard and riding them and having lasers shooting out of your eyes. That is never going to happen. Never going to happen. And so it's doing you a huge disservice by framing it this way, by saying if you just visualize well enough, you're going to get it. Because that creates outcome dependency. By you visualizing vividly, you create the exact things that the law of attraction tells you not to do, which is to be attached to the things. It tells you not to be attached to your desires, yet it tells you to visualize vividly. It doesn't work this way. This is not how we attract things that we want in our lives. This is not how our neurology is naturally wired to work. So I apologize for getting passionate here. I'm going to get back to the video, but I just needed to make this little side note right here because it just really annoys me where people are feeding, I shouldn't say false information, I should say incomplete information. And therefore, it feeds your desires, your outcome dependency. And this is the very reason why you're not able to attract the things that you want in life. So anyways, let's go back to the original video. To kill outcome dependency permanently, we need to speak the survival language of the brain. And there's two specific areas of the brain that we need to address. The first one is called the insula. Now, the insula is in your brainstem region, and it's basically responsible for your gag reflex. Now, if you've ever had food poisoning in your life, you know that as soon as you see the food that gave you food poisoning, you want to vomit right away. You have this gag reflex that comes automatically. You smell it, you want to gag. And what we want to do here is we want to create this outcome dependency, being outcome dependent, a neurological threat to our survival. We want to have this gag reflex. We want to push it out. We say, no, I will refuse to be outcome dependent. It's a threat to my survival. To do this, we need to stimulate the insula, which I'll show you how in a few moments. The second part that we need to stimulate is called the RAS, reticular activating system. Now, the RAS basically helps you mold your reality the way you want your reality to be molded. It helps you pay attention to things that are important to you. And it does so through the language of contrast. The RS speaks the language of contrast. This is good. This is bad. This is me. This is not me. So on and so forth. And so we need to use this contrasting principle to create our new reality, to create a really, really, really good reality and a really, really, really bad reality, and mix them together so that there's a clash, and then we are forced to go into a reality that is better for us. Because what we need to do right now is to make the current reality in which you are right now feel 1,000 times more threatening than the alternative, which is moving in the direction that you want. Now, because this is YouTube, I need to dial it down a lot. But you're still going to get the exact same results as if we were to do one-on-one coaching. Is just going to take longer. And what we're going to do here is an exercise that I call the guaranteed future journaling. But it is not your grandma's journaling technique. It is insanely intense. And I promise you, you've never done anything like this in the past. This is a totally different journaling technique that is, once again, insanely intense, and it is designed to trigger both your insula and your RAS, as well as in a part of the brain called the ACC, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, and by the way, if you want to follow along a little bit later on, you can download the PDF that is down below. It's going to walk you through an entire technique and give you examples so that you can look and copy it later on. So let's get started. The first thing I would like you to do is grab a pen and paper, and we're going to start stimulating that insula. We're going to start stimulating that gag reflex. And I want you to write 10 to 15 things that are insanely disgusting, nauseating, disturbing, embarrassing. This can be things like eating shit, licking vomit, licking a public toilet. Or it can be things that are embarrassing, and I encourage you to include that also. Things that are embarrassing and disgusting, like having sexual relations with a person you find disgusting, both repulsive physically and mentally and emotionally, and being filmed while doing that to add insult to injury, being filmed while eating shit or vomit or things like this. The reason why we want to make this list is because when we're going to do the guaranteed future exercise, we don't want to have to think about those disgusting things. We want them to already be in our database. And what we're going to do a little bit later when I go through the journaling exercise, we're going to link the behavior of being outcome dependent to this disgusting behavior, which is eating shit, licking a toilet, so on and so forth, to once again stimulate the gag reflex, the insula. So take a few moments of your time, write that list down, and once you're done, come back to this video, and we're going to get to the second part. We're going to use a concept called narrative transport theory. We're going to write a letter that is 3 to 6 months in the future. And we're going to write it from the perspective of being in this guaranteed disgusting future. And you're going to write something like June 26, 2026, which is 3 months down the road. Today, I've hit rock bottom. And I've looked in every single timeline out there. Every single timeline is worse than the other. All because I've failed to not be outcome dependent. All because I've been so focused on getting this promotion. I've ignored my wife, my kids, they left me, and now I have nothing left because I was so focused on the outcome. The objective here is not to be realistic. It's to be the absolute nightmare scenario that you see in horror movies. You have to smell it, you have to feel it, you have to bathe in it. But remember, and this is the most important part, you are never the behavior. The behavior is beneath you, but you are not the behavior. Once again, the behavior is beneath you. I was not able to see anything else. I have nothing left. And now I have to eat shit. I have to lick dirty toilets. I have to do X, Y, and Z. And this behavior of being outcome dependent is the reason why I'm now living this terrible future. Once again, I'm going to give you an example on how to write this properly in the description down below with the exact wording. Because there's a wording sequence that I alluded to here, but I want you to get the exact sequence. Now, this is very, very important. The very second you finish writing this letter, I want you to put your pen down because your brain is going to be in survival panic mode. You put your pen down and we're going to be doing a brain survival reset. And this is how it looks. So you're going to tense every single muscle in your body as hard as you can, like this. You're going to hold your breath for 3 to 10 seconds. And when you release it, you're going to release it with a ah, like this. Ah. And this does a vagal reset. So you've reset your vagal nerve for a very, very short period of time. And it gives you now 3 to 5 seconds to go straight into the positive guaranteed future section. So as soon as you're finished, you take your pen again and you start writing with the date on top. And then we write, it feels so good to be so free. And you go with the being not outcome dependent version of yourself that is in the future. Now, little word of warning. The version of you that is in the future that is not outcome dependent is not a future of you that is successful necessarily. Because once again, if you write it as being successful, as being happy, as being wealthy, then you're outcome dependent. So you need to write it, and I'm going to show you exactly how in the PDF down below. You need to write it in a way that feels good, that feels great, that feels like home, but also in a way that is not dependent of the outcome. Okay? By doing so, what you're doing is that you're telling your brain that continuing to be outcome dependent is creating a guaranteed future of terrible, terrible, terrible proportions. But by stopping the outcome dependency, you're creating a future that is much, much brighter in contrast. So we're stimulating the insula with the gag reflex. Then we're using the RAS as a contrasting tool. And we're also using what's called the ACC, which is the social element of our brain. When we include shameful elements like being filmed on doing these disgusting behavior, it creates a tribal threat. We feel threatened in our standing within our tribe. And that creates an even deeper survival threat, which helps us rewire our negative behavior and move towards a positive behavior. So if this video was helpful, please go ahead, give a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, and bye for now.